Good evening and welcome to the first virtual Zoom episode hosted by the Friends of the Library, Clayton County. I am Dr. Shanita Connolly, your host for this series, and I hope that you enjoy today's interview with Renee Whaley and just a little bit about Friends of Library. Friends of the Library was incorporated in July on the 27th, 1984. It has been actively supporting and advocating for the Clayton County Library System and library services for more than 40 years. It is a 501c3. And so their goal is to expose the public to local and authors who are local and throughout the state. So our first guest for this series is Renee Whaley, and I am going to allow her to share with us who she is, the name of her book, and why she wrote it. So good evening to you, Miss Whaley.
Good evening, Ms. Connolly, and thank you for having me on today.
You're welcome. We're excited to have you.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about your book, the title in itself.
Yes. Yes. So,
So tell us about yourself.
okay. As you stated already, I am Renee Whaley, and I am a financial coach, and I am an author. And I came about this journey after I realized, growing up low income, not having very much, and then being able to accomplish the goals that I've accomplished, despite growing up that way. I still was able to accomplish some pretty big things financially, and I want everybody else to know that they can do the same thing. So, in short, I'm just financial coach and author, but first and foremost, I am a mother and a wife, and so I am just always thrilled to just share my journey with others.
Awesome. So, with that being said, share with us the name of your book. And I know you just referenced a little bit of your journey, but can you go into it a little deeper as to why you chose that?
Oh, of course. So my book is A Journey to Financial Fortitude: How I Paid Off 75K, Went to College Debt Free, and Paid Off My Mortgage. And the reason that I chose the title, of course, I use the word journey because being financially free is a journey. It was a journey for me, and it's not something that happens overnight. It takes time, it takes patience, but most of all, it takes discipline. So, me, like I stated, coming from a low income background, wanted to help others, especially that has the same or similar background, help them to understand and know that with a plan, they could do just about anything. And one of those things is paying off all your debt. I was inclined to write this book because I do speaking engagements quite often. And when I would do some of my speaking engagements, sometimes individuals would ask me, where can I find your book? And I just did not really have a response for them because I did not have a book. Then came COVID, and I had a little bit more time on my hand than I even wanted. I didn't have to take the boys back and forth to their recreational activities. I wasn't having to drive them to school and drop them off. I wasn't having to drive into the office. So I had a little bit of extra time on my hand, and I am always of the mindset of being productive. So I wanted to know, what could I do to be productive? And God whispered in my ear and said, tell them your journey, write a book. And like I stated, folks have been asking me, about my book, and I didn't have an answer for them. And so I felt this was a perfect opportunity to take the time and pen the book. And so during COVID, at the top of COVID, I literally sat down and wrote the book. And again, like I said, I just feel like it's important for people from similar backgrounds to understand that you can be more than what society tells you you have to be. Um, you can rise above that, but it doesn't come without hard work and discipline. And so I like to share that with others. And also in my book, because I'm talking about a financial journey of freedom, I even have a chapter dedicated to scholarships and how a lot of our students can attend college debt free. Because I found when I started coaching, a lot of my clients that I was coaching, the majority of a lot of their debt was student loans. And being a graduate from the University of South Carolina and then later on RSC University, where I got my MBA,
Mhm.
I knew that you could have a debt-free college experience. So I wanted to start implementing that in my program. And so now that's a part of my program as well, where I do search for scholarships for our scholars so that they can have enough money to go to school without having to be riddled in debt once upon graduation.
I love that. A journey to financial fortitude. How
Mhm.
I paid off 75K and went to college debt free and paid off my mortgage. Not too many people can say that. So that is to be applauded. And I know you're a wife. So your husband had to be a part of the game plan. Was it
Absolutely.
easy for him to jump on board and say, "Yes, let's
Mhm.
do it"?
So I will say that it was easy for him, but I think it's because of his personality. And it's also because of the relationship that we have. We're very trusting of each other. So as I
Yeah,
started learning new things and sharing them with him, he just trusted what I was sharing. He trusted my advice. He trusted the journey I shared with him that I wanted us to go on collectively as a couple. Um, and he was just like, okay, let's do it. And
I
um,
love it.
yes, yes. So it came with I mean, a lot of people have a different journey. Some people talk about the sacrifice they had to take. I think for us, it was really mainly about cutting back on non-essentials. So maybe we didn't have to go out to eat 4 times a week. Um,
Yes.
maybe we didn't have to um,
What
get
about Starbucks?
yeah. And a lot of my clients, that's one of their vices is Starbucks. But fortunately for us, I'm not a coffee drinker. My husband actually, maybe within the past 2 to 3 years, really started being more of an avid coffee drinker. So that was not anything we really had to consider, but we did have to consider, how often we were eating out. We love to travel. So we didn't stop traveling, but we changed our trips to be more economical. Maybe instead of going to the Virgin Islands, we could go to Florida, or instead of going to Florida, we can go to Tennessee, something
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
So we were very, very intentional about that. But the number one um, thing I would say that got us over the hump was budgeting and sticking to the budget, because the budget works wonders. And I know people don't like that word, budget, but we had a line item on our budget for miscellaneous. So it didn't feel like we were, stuck or in this really, really hard place. It was just a slight lifestyle change, but
Mhm.
we didn't mind it for what the payoff and the reward was going to be.
That is awesome. I think about couples. Couples working together really can change the whole dynamics of the family or the generation for your family. My baby brother, I remember him telling me when he got married the first time, him and his wife, they had a game plan like you and your husband, and they banked her salary. Like it never got spent, and they
Oh,
paid off their first home, I think, in 8 years. And his second home, I think he paid it off himself. He was divorced at that time in 5. So you're right. When you have a game plan and you work together, particularly couples, because I honestly believe if couple works the plan, it is going to benefit them and their children and their children's children. So you are really setting things up for generations to come for your family, which is awesome. And I heard you say you didn't come from this, you created this,
Yes,
which is amazing.
absolutely.
And
Thank you.
and yeah, and now you're changing lives for others.
Yes, and I think it's important for um, my boys to know where I was, where their dad was, in life before they came along. Even some of the time while they were here, like this was a journey for us. And one of the funny things with my book, my first unofficial editor of my book was my son. Um, and I think he was about 13 years old, but he was an avid reader. By fourth grade, he had read the entire series of Harry Potter. So my book
Wow.
was a very easy read for him. But, I kind of positioned it to him as, hey, read mommy's book and let me know where I can make some modifications. But in reality, he was reading my journey. Oh, and
Yes.
that was really the real goal, the end goal, because on several occasions we've tried to make sure that we share with them that this didn't come easy,
Mhm.
and so they understand it. And I can even remember when Judah was in preschool, and he went to school and told his teachers, "My mommy grew up in a house with only one bathroom," and I was
Like,
like, "I
like,
got
wow.
that." Yeah.
He was surprised, like, really? Yeah.
Yes, because he's never been accustomed to living in a home with just one bathroom. But
Mhm.
things like that. So that's just a testimony of me sharing my story with him over time so that he understands, what this is not what you have and what we have is not. It just didn't happen overnight.
Right.
It was a plan, and it took us time to get here.
And the beauty of it is you don't have to stay where you are,
Right.
or where you come from. So you showed them how to blossom out of that you knew as a child, which is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Um,
Thank you.
and so, as a local author, and I know you say you have many speaking engagements,
Mhm.
where can people purchase your book and how can people reach you if they'd like to have you come and speak at an event?
Yes, so there are several ways that you can get linked to my book. You can go to my website, which is www.financialfortitudellc.com. Again, that's www.financialfortitudellc.com. That'll take you to my website, and there's a link there that will link you over to where you can purchase a copy of my book, which happens just to be Amazon. So if you, can't uh, get to my website, I would love for you to start there. But if you can't, you can always go on to Amazon and just type in A Journey to Financial Fortitude, and you should see my book pop up. So those are ways that you can purchase the book. Ways to just contact me. Again, my website, I do 15-minute no charge consultations with individuals. So you can book me through my website to do that. I also have a LinkedIn page, which is Financial Fortitude LLC. I have a Facebook page, which is Financial Fortitude LLC. And I also have an Instagram page, which is F Fortitude LLC. So those are the different ways that you can reach me or contact me.
Awesome, 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 awesome. And so they can purchase the book through Amazon and by contacting you if they like an autographed copy.
Yes. So if you would prefer an autographed copy, you can reach out to me through any of those channels, and I will personally autograph it and send it to you in the mail as well.
Wonderful. And so, we've kind of touched on this a little bit,
Mhm.
but can you just share with the audience what you personally hope to gain from sharing your experience with the world a little deeper? You've touched on it, periodically during our conversation, but go
Right.
a little deeper.
Would like to share with individuals that um, your past does not necessarily dictate your future, or your present for that matter. Your past doesn't dictate that. I want people to understand that no matter where you came from, because quite honestly, it's not just people in low income situations that are in debt. You have millionaires that are in debt as well. So that is not something that I ascribe to, is that, oh, it's just the people that are in low income situations. But I do understand that people that are high earners are in debt as well. So my message is that you don't have to be in debt. Society has done a great job through marketing and media, telling us we have to have things. They tell us you have to have a car payment if you want a car. That's absolutely not true. They, tell us, different things that we have to experience. They tell us that if your car breaks down, or if you have to have a tire replaced, or and it's an emergency, that you have to um, swipe your credit card. Those things are not necessarily true. And so I want people to think beyond the status quo. Um, think you have to have a paradigm shift. And I understand that when I say, you don't have to use a credit card and you don't have to pay for your car, that it may sound to many like it's unreachable. But I want people to know that I'm a living witness of what can be done. I did not gain an inheritance through grandparents or foreparents before me. I didn't gain an inheritance. I did not win the lottery. It'd be nice if I did.
Yes,
But I,
absolutely.
right? I did not win the lottery. I just sat down and I put a plan together. And not only did I put the plan together, but I executed.
Yes,
That's the important part. So, my message to others, and what I hope to gain by writing this book, is helping people understand that they can make a change, and
yes,
that what I did is not necessarily an anomaly. It's something that they too can do.
yes, absolutely. And it's called discipline.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I
Lots and
wish,
lots of discipline to take
yes,
the journey. Yes, you have to be able to say no and turn away from different things. Um, but it's definitely doable.
is doable. I really wish that my husband and I had met you before he passed, because that was one of the areas in our life that we should have focused on more. And so, to couples, that's why I really admire the fact that your husband jumped on board and you said, use the word trusted each other, and for the benefit of not only you individually as a couple and as a family and generations to come, made a decision to come together and work the plan.
Right.
And so many times, couples, this area is one that's lacking. So I want to encourage any couple, particularly any person, but couples in particular who will watch this recording later, to contact you and sit down and kind of talk about the game plan for them as a team. Um, because it's very important, particularly if one or the other is the breadwinner and that income is extracted because of death, like my husband. And what
Mhm.
is the plan? Do we really think about that?
Right.
So, this, your book is amazing. It will set people up for financial success.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping that they will contact you and, get started on their plan.
Yes.
So, as we prepare to close, thank you so much for sharing. I want you to share a piece of advice to an aspiring author out there who has contemplated writing a book but just can't seem to find the time to do so. what advice would you give them?
So in short, I mean, I'll still the Nike tagline, just do it. Um, After I wrote my book, I can't count how many people came to me and said, I've been writing a book for years. I've been trying to do this. I haven't did this. Of course, they want, tips and resources and things of that nature. And I'm just like, just do it. You just have to um, take the time to sit down and do it. And I'm of the mindset, anybody that knows me know this. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not one of those people that say, yeah, I'll do it in 5 years. If I know I have the resources now and I can do it, then I'm going to just do it. Now, I can see making a plan, a 5 or 10 year plan for retirement, um, for getting out of debt, things
Mhm.
like that. But for something like writing a book, you can carve that time out. Um, and just do it. I mean, I was lucky to be able to take the opportunity, advantage of the opportunity during COVID to write mine. However, I think others are afforded those opportunities too, but they may choose to do other things with that time. So, we have people that love to watch TV or love to Netflix and chill or whatever
Social media.
it is. That's what they choose to do with their time, and I'm not knocking it, but I chose to do otherwise. And
Yeah.
so that just gave me an opportunity to sit down and write. And it's just interesting that I didn't know for a long time that I had a story. People would just ask me, what's my story? I
Mhm.
think this whole thing with, getting out of debt kind of started with the social media post. I think I posted the letter from the student loan company that said you've paid off your student loan debt or what
Mhm.
have you. And then that started a trickle effect where people was like, how did you do that? And then people would then start saying, oh, you have a story to tell. And so, and I had one colleague that actually told me, you need to write a book. And this particular colleague, she was a counselor at a high school. And she really was telling me to write a book about how I searched for scholarships and was able to go to college debt free. That's really what she kind of wanted me to write about. And but once people started confirming to me that I had a story, I started thinking more and more about it because I remember I told my husband, I said, should I wait till I pay off the mortgage to write the book, or should I just write it now?
Mhm.
Um, and he said, you wait till you pay off the mortgage, but you can start it now, right? And
Mhm.
then when you get to that point where the mortgage is paid off, you'll be able to kind of add to it and talk about how you felt and things like that.
Mhm.
So that's what I would tell an aspiring author. Just really just sit
Do it.
down, just do it. Make a plan. I mean, everything is about planning, right?
Yes.
Um,
And you said it perfectly. Everyone has a story. Write your story.
yeah.
And you know what I think about as an author of two books myself? I think about the legacy, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren who I may never meet, right? And so how will they really get to know me other than the stories that the family tells them? But
Yeah.
if they were able to pick up a book and they could hear my thoughts
Yeah.
through reading the pages, I
Mhm.
think about that often.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
To anyone out there, take Miss Whaley's advice and just do it.
Yes.
So I want to just thank you again for being the first guest for the Friends of the Library for Clayton County Public
Absolutely.
Library System and sharing your book. And I wish you much success on this journey. And hopefully we can connect on a different level and do some things in the future. And I definitely have some people I need to refer to you for the college scholarship piece.
Yes. Yes. Thank
Yes.
you for having me, Dr. Connolly.
Yes, this has been wonderful.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. And you have a great evening. And to the audience, you all have a wonderful evening as well. and stay tuned for more exciting local authors for this series. Take care. Cheers.